Welcome everyone to J Wolf Tech Broadcast. Today I'm going to be doing unboxing of Corsair's H80, and this is part of their Hydro series where they have the H40, 50, 60, 70, and then the 80, and they also have the H100, which is a dual 120mm radiator setup. And some important things to notice about this is that it can handle a push-pull configuration of 120mm, and this is important, and many things are going towards more of a small factor form. And this will fit perfect because most cases, even the smaller micro series cases that are, a quarter of the size of a mid-tower case, actually still have 120mm exhaust. And this is perfect for mounting a CPU cooler like this. So what we're going to do is get an unboxing here. This is a little bit older product, but I think it's really important now because I see everything going more towards a mobile form factor and performance and gaming. So let's actually get this unboxed. Let's see what Corsair has to say for the outside of this. So it's a CPU cooler. It's compatible with most any socket out there. 1155 is a current one, and also 2011 for the Intel side. It's also compatible with some of the older ones, but those are the two main ones right now. It's AMD, AM2, and AM3. That covers probably 99% of the sockets out there right now. And let's see what it has to say here on the side. It is, it's 120mm, that's one thing to notice, to take 120mm fans, and it's 152mm thick. That's an important because I've actually ran the Corsair H60, which actually has a much smaller depth into the radiator. You'll see that once we get it unboxed here. And for what they have to say here on the back, the important thing to note here is this chart where you actually see that the Hydro series, looks like they're running this on a Core i7 920, which is an older processor, but it performs good in this test, is that it runs right up there with the H100. The H100 might run a little bit cooler, mainly because there's... Okay, little tip here about cooling. For adequate cooling, it matters about how much air you can push through the fins and how much actual space is actually on the radiator to push the air through, which leads to better cooling. It doesn't really matter about the pressure or the water flow. It matters about how much air you can push through the fins of the radiator and cool that. So let's actually get this unboxed and see what's actually inside. So Corsair's had their Hydro series around for a while now, and the Corsair H100, while being a longer radiator, I actually have an unboxing. I'll throw a link on here in case you want to check that out. It's an excellent radiator, but it doesn't fit in a lot of the smaller form factor cases where this will, and this will also provide some of the equal cooling for your CPU that you might need. One thing that I really like about Corsair, I know this is a little trivial, but they really do good on their packaging. Everything just seems to be well packaged, and even their design of the outside and inside of the boxes seems to be great. And this just stop. Do not return to the store. Call Corsair if you're doing any type of RMAs or anything like that. I've actually done an RMA on an H100, and the process was pretty smooth, which is nice. So you get a little solutions guide here. It just goes over some of their products, not anything too important. There's actually a pretty cool website that'll, I forget what the website is. I might try to throw up there a link up there, but it actually goes through what cases this will actually fit in, and also with any other Corsair products. So what we have is a little manual here. Kind of has some nice pictures here where it goes through on how many components you're supposed to have of each. And one side is going to be the AMD install guide. And the other side is going to be the Intel. It's pretty basic. It's really not that difficult to install. I've installed the H40, H60, H80, H100, which I'm currently running. But I almost actually went with this one because I really almost couldn't fit the Corsair H100 in my new case. It's actually not a newer case, but it's a different case from what I've been running. So here's all your two AMD brackets for your backplate. Just like that. And here's your Intel one. Cool thing that I like about this for the Intel one is that these things just kind of slide back and forth. This is really good to mount on the back of your motherboard. It makes it a little easier to actually mount on there instead of just putting screws in. You just kind of align it up. It's a kind of a play thing. You don't have to play with it on the back. It takes a little bit to get it through there. And so comes with a couple fans. Corsair is more of an all-black theme when it comes to their products, so you have some nice, cool, just black fans there. Really nice. All black sleeving, which is what Corsair is known for, keeping things black, simple. So you get 2 of those. These fans are pretty quiet. From what I've found, they're not Noctua quiet, or maybe Cougar quiet. Some of their hydro bearings, but they perform excellent, especially for what this cost. I'm surprised you actually get case fans with it. And here's the other one. Nice all black fans. I find that they do adequate for pushing or pulling air through. If you want nice fans, go with Cougar or Noctua. Provide a little bit better performance and quiet for your system. And alright, so we actually have the radiator here, and one thing you're going to notice is that this is much wider than your typical Corsair, let's say H60 radiator. If you ever seen one like that, it's much wider, which basically provides them a little bit better cooling. They're allowed to stack a little bit more fins in there. Not really in the stacking purpose, but they're a little bit longer, which allows for more air to actually touch the fins in here, which allows for better cooling. More air that touches these fins and can push the hot air out, the better this thing's going to perform. And I'm really glad they went with this. I believe it was the H80 that had a different socket for mounting. It was horrible. It was where it had these little teeth around here, and you actually just screwed it on to the actual back plate. It was horrible. That's just my opinion. I've installed that 2 or 3 times, and it was not a very fun experience. So you have your socket here, and you have 3 speeds, low, medium, and high, depending on what you actually need. You have 2 connections here to plug in your 2 fans. And then you have a fan header here to plug into your CPU fan header on your motherboard, and you have a Molex. Does require a Molex because it doesn't have adequate power to basically run this controller here without a Molex connector. And it already has a thermal paste pre-applied. I find that the thermal paste on here is adequate with the other aftermarket thermal paste you have, so I've actually just went ahead and used this and not removed it and reapplied my own. So that's really all I wanted to go over with my unboxing here of the Corsair H80. I have ran this in a system before, and it performs pretty close to the Corsair H100. The Corsair H100 does have a little bit more potential, especially when you do a push-pull and you have 4 fans running. You really are allowed to get a lot higher overclocking when you're using that. Or if you're using a small form factor case, this is a perfect setup, especially if you're using some of the micro or ITX motherboard cases. Those cases can get extremely small, and it makes it difficult to put a H100 in there without doing some case mods. So this would be an excellent CPU cooler if you're looking for a Hydro series and not doing it by air. I find these perform much better than air, and they're actually a little bit quieter, and they look a little neater in the case, so I actually prefer to go with any type of Corsair water cooling. But if you have maybe an unlocked, maybe a K-series Intel processor, this is the way I would go if you can't fit a Corsair H100 in there. Grab the Corsair H80. This has been my unboxing of the Corsair H80. If you'd like to see more unboxings, reviews, tech news, broadcasts, and any other build guides, don't forget to subscribe.